Okay, now that we are done with the body, we're going to start with the ears, the arms, the legs, and the snouts. Okay, so we're going to cut that tail, and now we're going to close the bottom. To close the bottom, you want to take the tail and you're going to put it through the loops of the first chain that we made. As you put the tail through each loop, you want to pull a little to ensure that you're closing the gap. You're going to continue to loop it in from the inside out. Go from the inside and out through each loop. Okay, and after you're done with the last one, you're going to do a knot. So you're going to just you're going to pull it, make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure what you want to do is close the gap. So you pull the tail through a hole and pull it back in to ensure that you're closing that gap. Okay, you do that a few times until you feel like the gap is nice and close. Now you're gonna go and pull the tail inside, and what you're gonna do, you're gonna pull it back in and you're gonna tie it into a knot. You want to go ahead and burn that edge. That way, when you put it inside, the thread stays put. Okay, you just want to seal the ends of the yarn. Okay, and now you pull the yarn through a hole. Okay, I want to make sure that my yarn was nice and sealed. Now it is, so I put it through the hole inside. Make sure that everything looks good there. And now I'm going to do a knot in the inside. And pull it nice and tight. Okay, now that my bottom is sealed, I'm going to start stuffing it. So I stuff it. You just want to put as much as you think you need. That it looks nice and filled in. Okay. I think I'll put a little more. And I also want to start filling up also the top part of the body, which is actually, that's the bottom, the body is the bottom, and the top is actually the head of the bear. So I'm gonna stuff both the body and the head of the bear. So I put enough that it looks nice and full. Now I'm gonna see the next thing I do is put the eyes. So I'm gonna use these to put the eyes. I want to find the right place for the eyes, and I just make sure that they are in the right place. So you just find the right place where you want to put the eyes. What I do is that I take the yarn where I want to put the eyes. I make sure that I use the same line for each side, that I make sure that I am measuring the distance correctly. So I pull the yarn in for the eyes, and then I put it through one more time just to put it a little thicker so the eyes will look nice. Okay, you can see that? Really nice. Okay, and now you will tight the yarn. Well, you cut the extra and then you tie it. Just put a little knot out there. Nice and tight. Just fix it, make sure it looks good, and then tie it. Okay. Then you want to again burn the edges just to make sure that it stays put. Okay. And now you have your first eye. Now we're going to do the second eye. Same thing. Make sure it's at the right distance, the right at the right level, and do the same thing. Put it through, and then go and put it through again, the same holes, just put it over again, just to have that extra. If you put one, I feel like it's really thin and the eyes don't look as big. Look at that. Looks really nice. Okay, so now that we have it like that, now we go ahead and do the same thing. We tie it and we put a little knot in here, and again we burn the edges, and now we have our eyes. Okay. This one I sealed together because it was really short. Either way, it's fine. Okay. So I'm just making sure that the eyes are looking really nice. And okay, just fixing them here and there. Now this knot is gonna go there. But right now, we're gonna just close the head right now. The head we're gonna put this knot, we're gonna close the head first right now. And what we do is that the same thing with the other bottom. We'll go ahead and take that tail and put it through each loop of the top. And as we do that, we'll pull it. I'm just fixing the eyes still. You know, you just want to make sure you fix it, make sure it looks good. Okay, I just want to make sure. So now you put it again. You want to pull the tail through the inside of the loop, all the way around on the top to seal the top. Okay. Okay, almost done. You continue until the end, and you want to pull. You pull it. Make sure that it looks good. You pull. Same thing. You do the same thing like you did at the bottom. You pull the final hole and pull the tail through. Bring it back up and do a little knot. Put it around and put it through and pull it in like a knot. Then you're gonna again burn the edge. I'm just gonna do another knot just to secure it better. So I put it through and another knot. Okay, that's good. Now I'm gonna burn the. Yeah, I cut it. It's too long, so I burned the edge and put it inside. This one you just squeeze inside. Okay, there you go. Now you have your body and the eyes. Still fixing the eyes a little bit, just so, yep, there you go. The head. Now the snout is gonna be there, and the ears gonna be there, the hands and the legs. Okay, so let's start with the ears. Okay, so for the ears, we're gonna do, you're gonna find the first, you want to find the place where you want to do your ears. So you just want to find the perfect place for your ears. Once I find the perfect place, you get a marker, just to make sure that I'm marking while work in the other ear. So you will start with 4 loops from the top down. You start with 4 loops, okay, and then you're gonna need 2 rows. Okay, so you have 4 loops. Now you go ahead and knit 1 row, 2, 3, 4, then 1 more row, going back, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now over here we're going to decrease it to 3, so you're going to connect these 2, yep, and put it through 1 loop, and then you're going to do a loop on the other ones, 1 and 2. Now we're going to decrease it again, and we're going to just do a loop on 3 of them. So you're going to connect all 3 of them and pull the loop through it. Okay, you want to put the ones on the sides is going to go on the front, and the one in the middle is going to be in the back, and then you pull your loop through it. Okay, there you go. And then you want to cut that tail so you can tie it. Okay, then you're going to put the yarn through the last loop and pull it nicely. Okay, then that's your ear right there. Now what you do with this tail, you're gonna put it through, going down through the ear, okay, until you get to the bottom. Then you're gonna go ahead and take that tail and tie it with the other tail that was there. You're gonna make a knot. Okay, now you cut that one. Again, you burn the edges, and then you just go ahead and stick those tails inside the inside. Okay, now you have your first ear. Now we're going to start on the second ear. Now the same thing, you do the same thing. You go ahead and start with 4 loops. 1, just making sure it's at the same size. That's 3 and 4. And now you're gonna do 2 rows of knitting. So 1, now this is your second row. Now you're gonna decrease it to 3, so you're gonna connect, you're gonna put one those two one on top of the other, and then you go and do loop the other 2, and then you want to pull all 3 together, reduce it to 1. Okay, just like you did the other one, and put that loop through it. And now you have your second ear. You're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna do the last loop, cut the tail, put it through, and pull. And now you want to go ahead and take the tail, and again you want to go ahead and put it through down the ear. On this one I started doing on the other side, so I had to fix it. So see me undo it right now, and so I can do it the right way, because I want to connect the 2 tails at the end, tie them together so it can have a nice secure finish for the ear. Okay, get in there. Okay, and now we tie both ends, burn the edges, and put the extra yarn inside. Okay, now we're going to start with the arm and legs. All right, I already did the first arm and the first leg. So now once you find the right place for your arms, you're going to go ahead, and for the arms you're going to knee, it's going to be 2 loops at the top of the arm. It's going to be 1 loop on each side, and then 2 loops at the bottom. So I'm doing the first 2 loops at the top. Okay, then 1 loop at this on the side, and then now 2 loops at the bottom, and then 1 loop on the other side. So in total you have 6 loops. Okay, you see, 6 loops. Now you're gonna start knitting, and you're gonna need 5 rows going up. Okay, so it's gonna be a total of 6 rows that you're gonna have for the arms. Okay, so that's 1, 2, now this is 3. You want to make sure that you don't forget where you started your first row, your first loop, because you don't want to make it uneven. Okay. I didn't put a marker on this one just because it's so small. I wasn't gonna miss my spot. But if you feel like you need a marker, just put a marker where you started your row, your first row. You still have the tail to tell you there which one was the first row. Okay, now I'm counting. I think I need one more. Okay, once you finish with your last row, you're gonna do the same thing as you did with closing the bottom and the top. You're gonna put a little, you're gonna stuff it inside just to give a little, and you're gonna cut the tail, and you're gonna close it again. You're gonna put it through each loop again from the inside. Put it through, and you're gonna pull it together. See? Now you have your other arm. Okay. Now with the tail, you do the same thing that you did with the ears. You're gonna go ahead and wrap that tail through the arm. First you do a knot, and then you wanna go ahead and pull the tail through down the arm and tie it together with the first tail. Don't forget to do the knot when you seal that hole, when you close the hole. Okay, once you get to the end, again you're gonna tie it together, and you're gonna burn the edges like you have done, like you do with every other part of the body. Okay, and now we have both our arms. Now we're gonna do the leg. Now for the leg, of course, find the right place for the legs. Now once you know the right place for the leg, you're gonna do, this one's gonna do 8 loops. So for this one, you're gonna do 2 loops on the top, 2 loops on each side, and 2 loops at the bottom. Make it a little bigger for the legs. Okay, and you're gonna use the same, at the same distance that you did the arm, you're gonna start your legs in the back. Okay, so again, you're gonna do 2 loops at the bottom, 2 loops on each side, and 2 loops at the top. Okay, those are my 2 loops on the side. Yeah, continue to make sure that they're both, everything is on the same, at the same level, because you don't want the arms to be one up and the other one down. So just make sure that they look even. Okay. two on the top. And then two on the side. Okay. Now we count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We make sure that it looks even, that everything looks right before we start kneading the leg. Okay. Want to make sure it's all even, because once you start, you do it, then you have to undo it if it's not long enough. Now we're going to start kneading our legs, and you want to do 8 rows. So you already have 1, so you're going to do 7 more rows. So it'll be 8 in total. Okay. Okay, almost done. Yep. And when you finish the last row, again, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to stuff it, and then you're going to seal the opening. I'm counting, making sure that I have 8 rows. Okay. All right, I have my rows. Now I have to stuff it. I started to seal it without the stuffing, but I came back and remember that I have to stuff it. But so now you're gonna do the same thing. You put a loop through each one to tie it together and close the gap of the hole of the opening, whatever you want to call it. See, they're sealing it. Then I remember that I got to stuff it, so got my stuffing. Right, fill it up. Yep. Yep. And again, do the same thing. Tight the tail inside, put it through, bring it out, do a knot, tie it together, then put the yarn through the leg going down, and you will do a knot with the other end, with the other tail, burn the edges and put it inside. Okay, so now we finished our legs. So now we have our ears, arms, legs, the eyes. Now we gotta do the snout. Okay. Now for the snout, we're gonna do the same thing we did with the arms. You're gonna do 2 loops on the top, 1 loop on each side, and then 2 loops at the bottom. Want to make sure it's placed correctly so the nose or the snout doesn't look uneven or to the side. All right, so I got my 2 loops on the top, then I do the 1 on the side, and now I do the 2 at the bottom. Okay. Now the snout is a little different just because we're just gonna do 1 row knitting on the snout. So the first tail is gonna stay in the middle. We're gonna use it as stuffing. We're not gonna cut it, so we're gonna make a knot and just keep it there. I'm running out of memory right now, so I'm rushing a little bit, but I just want to tell you. So what you're gonna do now, you're gonna do a roll for the nose, and once you're done with the roll for the nose, all you have to do is the same thing you did with the arms and leg. You're gonna seal it by putting the yarn through each loop and tie it together. And then what you're gonna do with the extra tail, you're gonna put it inside the nose for more stuffing after you put a little knot at the end. Okay, I just wanted to tell you that because I ran out of memory when I was finishing. So for the nose, you're gonna take a little the color you want for your nose. You're gonna take the yarn and you're gonna tie both of the top loops together, and that's gonna make your nose. Okay. All right, and there you have it. You have your nose, you have your ears, you have your arms, you have your legs, and you have your teddy bear. Look at that. There you go. Beautiful. Thank you for watching.